Alright, Algebra 2 people, this is test chapter 1 part 2. I just labeled it test 1B on here. Even though I have it on paper, these are all the same questions that were in your Google form, and I'm going to show you the answers. Alright, so for number 1, you were supposed to punch in all of this data and find a line of best fit. Now, since you didn't have your calculators, you were supposed to use this website. Notice I punched in all of the data, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30, 34, 44, 57, 69, 78, and then I got this, all right, 10.228 something, 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 something. All right, now check this out. I should say y equals, and then I had 10.22857, which should round to 10.23. X, and then that last number said 16.2, so you didn't even need to round it. So this was the answer. I don't remember if it was A, B, C, D, whatever, but this was the answer. These were all multiple choice. Now, the second thing says you're supposed to use that equation to predict the temperature if that is your month, last day of school, around then. So since I have a month, you should have came up here and said a month is an X value. So I should have punched 5.17 in for X. And you can punch that whole thing into a calculator if you so desire. I'm going to do just that. Alright, so let's punch in 10.23 times 5.17 plus 16.2. Notice I get 69.089, which would round to 69.09 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, so those are my first two answers. Number 3, find the slope of the line passing through these 2 points. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I would have labeled these my first x and y and my second x and y, and then plugged it in. I get negative 3 minus 0 over negative 1 minus 2. Negative 3 minus 0 is a negative 3. Negative 1 minus 2 is also a negative 3, and when you divide those, you get the fact that the slope is 1. Number 4 says write the equation going through this point with that slope. Now, how we did this in class is we used this information and we punched it in here. Y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. All right, so opposite of my y value is a positive 1. My slope is 4. And opposite of this x value is a negative 3. Now, as of right now, I followed the instructions, but when you were taking your test, you probably noticed all of the answers were in slope-intercept form. So you actually had to take this, solve for y. So 4x minus 12. And then when I subtract 1, I get y equals 4x minus 13. That's what that would have looked like for the fourth question. This was one of the answer choices, 4x minus 13. And lastly, write the equation of the line passing through these 2 points. So again, x1, y1, x2, y2. I need to find my slope. No matter what version of the equation I'm going to write it in, I need slope. So I'm going to do y2 minus y1, so 5 minus 1. And then y2 minus y1, 5 minus 3. So that's a 4 on the top, 2 on the bottom, gives me a slope of 2. Now, it does not matter which one of these points we use. I'm guessing most of you probably would have used this one. And you would have said, again, we're punching it into this point slope form equation right here. So y opposite y1 equals slope times x opposite x1. That's using this point and the slope that we just found. But again, all of your options were in slope-intercept form, so you had to solve for y. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. My last step would have been to add 1, and I get y equals 2x minus 5. This was my answer. Y equals 2x minus 5. All right, now there are 3 other questions. 2 of them involved this right here. First one said write an equation for the line shown, and then the second one write a sentence describing the slope. Now I actually put the equations for this line, all the choices were in point slope form using this point. So the point is 5, 40, and then my slope, you should have looked at these 2 arrows and realized that my slope is rise over run. So that's 5. I have a slope of 5. So if I want to write this, y opposite y1 equals slope times x opposite x1. That's all you had to do. That's what that would look like in point slope form. Now, then I asked you to write a sentence describing slope, and there was a bunch of different options. But the one that actually fit here is it said something along the lines of, for every 2 years a child ages, because look at, we're going 2 years, and that's age, they gain 10 pounds. Because they are going up, and that's weight, and it is in pounds. So for every 2 years a child ages, they gain 10 pounds. That was the option we were looking for. Lastly, we came down here, and this one probably should have taken you longer than any of the others. All right. Now, you see I've got an equation up top here. Let's see if I can focus. Whoops, sorry. Focus that. You got an equation up top there that only has x's and y's. So, why don't we find another equation that only has x's and y's? So I'm going to look at these 2 equations, and if I only want x's and y's, all I need to do is get rid of z's. Actually made it kind of easy on you. Your z's are already opposites. So all you had to do is add these 2 equations together. Let's see, negative 2x minus 5x is a negative 7x. Negative 3y plus 5y is a positive 2y, and then you'll notice these go away. And then negative 24 minus 22 is a negative 46. Now I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to bring it way down here. X minus 2y equals 10. Sorry, lights in my classroom just went up. Okay. And now I am going to solve this. Now again, I made it kind of easy on you because your y's already cancel out. So these go away. Negative 7x plus x is a negative 6x, and this becomes negative 36. And hopefully you notice you just divide by a negative 6, and you get the fact that x equals 6. That is the first part of my answer. Now I can take this x minus 2y equals 10, and I can say, well, I just found out x equals 6. So 6 minus 2y equals 10. And I should be able to solve that to find y. So if I subtract 6, I get negative 2y equals 4. Divide by negative 2, and I get y equals negative 2. Now don't forget, when we write this answer, it is going to be an xyz point. We already found out x equals 6. Now we are going to add on the fact that y equals negative 2. That's x, y, and z. So the only thing I need now is to figure out what z is. Now if I have an x and I have a z, all I've got to do is pick one of these 2 equations, have a z, and plug everything in. I'm going to take this middle equation right here. So negative 2x minus 3y plus 6z equals negative 24. And I'm going to take that x value and that y value that we just found, and I'm going to plug them in. So we found out that x equals 6, that y equals negative 2. And now we solve. So negative 2 times 6 is a negative 12. Negative 3 times a negative 2 is a positive 6, plus 6z equals a negative 24. I can take negative 12 and 6, and I can squish them together. Negative 12 plus 6 is a negative 6. Now I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and I get 6z is equal to negative 18. Lastly, I divide by 6, and I get that z equals negative 3, which is the final part to my answer. So this right here should have been your answer. It was one of the choices on the test. That's it.